Hey guys, Ben the Idiotic Nerd here, and today I'm going to be doing tests on my rare 2004 Kohler Kathryn toilet. Now, as far as I know, I'm going to start off with this. As far as I know, at least in terms of YouTube and stuff, I am the only collector that has at least an Ingenium Trap Kohler Kathryn. I don't know if any other collectors currently have one of these at all. Now, this is a mess right here. I don't know if that's the reason the toilet's doing this, but when I try and flush it with a press and release, the flapper just goes down, or it just shuts automatically. Again, I don't know if it's because of the tangled chain in there. Tried doing stuff with that, but it's just not wanting to cooperate, and I'm kind of lazy to try and fix that, at least as of right now. And there are little holes here, so I'm just gonna have to hold the handle down for all the flushes, unless you want to see a flush that's like this. So yeah, also you can see the interesting square shaped thing in there. Probably gonna have to like manually push this down to get to the water line. And also, one more thing before I start. In the Alto test video, to all the people who have seen that, when I was mentioning a reducer thing, and I mentioned this pipe was shooting into like this thing, I don't remember the exact words I said, but what I was going to show you before I got like sidetracked or whatever is this thing right here, which is the reducer itself, because it's currently on full right now, but you can turn it down, and that turns down, or that decreases the amount of water and the force of the water that like goes through there and into there, because this was off when I first turned the water on, and I thought this was broken. I turned that up, and yeah, it works. And yeah. So anyways, yeah, that's what I was actually talking about instead of the pipe itself. So yeah. I tend to get sidetracked a lot, and I hope that won't be too annoying. But one thing I know is that kind of annoys me, so yeah. I'm gonna lock the focus really quick. Gonna grab the washcloth. Oh yeah, before I do that, Jesus, this video is already 3 minutes long. There's a thing down here. I don't know exactly what all it looks like under there, but there's this weird thing at the end of the trap, and that could cause some problems maybe on the washcloth tests. So I will grab said washcloths, and I will do our first test, which is flushing one washcloth. Alright, let's see how it does. That didn't do bad at all. I think it did perfect. So it appears the thing at the bottom is either not as big of a problem as I thought it was going to be, or it's because I've only flushed one down. Because our next test, as I'm sure we all know, I'm going to straighten that up a bit. This test is flushing two washcloths, which I'm not confident on it passing. And let's see if it passes this, which I do not have I don't have high hopes for it passing. And it in fact did not. Let's see if it's at the end here. And I don't see anything hanging out. So I'm going to give it one more flush. And while I'm waiting for the tank to fill, I'm going to grab the water. Alright, it is done filling. Now let's see if it can unclog itself. Nope. Wow. Either it's because of the shape of the trap, or these washcloths are kind of stuck in there. Alright, now time for me to do the very fun thing of reaching my hand a bit up into the trap, or the pipe, and see if I can feel them, which I can't. We'll be right back. We are experiencing technical difficulties at the moment. Alright, after a few exhausting minutes of having a war with this toilet practically, I finally got them out. And I am not doing that test again. I am just going to go straight to dirt. Because I don't think I am going to want to have to spend probably 5 more minutes on that thing, because that's probably the amount I did last time. Alright, now it's time for me to get the dirt. Alright, I am back with all of the dirt. Oh wow, it really coated up the area up there. I'm gonna fill the tank up a bit more because the flapper is again leaking. I don't know how many times I've said that already. Probably 3 or 4. But let's see how it does. Wow. It did around the same, if not a little worse, or maybe a little better than the Alto from yesterday. Or when I filmed the video of the Alto yesterday, and I'm filming this today. Even though I've probably mentioned that already. And another thing I'm going to mention while I'm waiting for the tank to fill up. When I was mentioning, or when I was showing off the tank lid, or yeah, like early on in the Alto video, what I was trying to say, or what I was, if you didn't like fully understand that, there was an identical Alto there that probably came from the same place as that other Alto before they both, or they were probably in the same building or something before they ended up at the restore. So I hope that clears some things up, again, if you watch that video. Alright, now let's see if it can clear out the rest of the dirt from the bowl, which it likely will. And I do see some, like, very small specks, or at least one speck or something, but aside from that, it basically cleared everything, except for maybe some stuff up by the rim. And now we will move on to the clogged siphon jet tests. Alright, the siphon jet is clogged. I'm going to grab that and take that over here because I'm not going to need it. And I'm not too confident on its siphoning, but that is why when I was mentioning that I forgot to do something. It was a test where if a toilet doesn't siphon, or usually after I would do a clogged siphon jet test with the water at the water line, I would do another one where it would overflow into the overfill line, or over the top of the tube, so that water would start entering the bowl from inside the tank or whatever. But yeah, my Wellworth Ingenium did siphon, and this is basically a much weaker version of that practically. So let's see if it does in fact siphon. And it did siphon. I'm going to try one washcloth down it and dirt, but that's all I'm going to do because I don't want to repeat necessarily of trying to get this thing unclogged for probably 5 minutes straight. You can see water leaking from there because of the flapper. Let's see if I can get that to stop. I think I may have made it worse a little bit. I'm going to fill a little more. Alright, let's see if it can pass. And it did, which is good. I mean, obviously, because failed bad. Alright, now time for me to get the dirt, and then after that move on to the overfilled tank tests. Alright, once again I am back with all of the dirt. Now let's see if it does a similar thing the Alto did last night, but I did put more dirt in it the first time when the siphon jet wasn't clogged, and I put less dirt in the other time with the clogged siphon jet, meaning it would have done better. But let's see if it has similar results once I get the water back to the water line. And now let's see if it does better than the first time. And it did. By quite a bit as well. Now I'm going to do another flush to try and get that out, and then we will move on to the overfilled tank tests. And I'm going to need some paper towels. Actually, no I won't, because I thought these holes went through to here, but they don't. They stop right there. I don't know. I wonder why that is. It's probably something with like, I don't know. But you can see like the inside of this little column thing here. This is really interesting. I wonder why they have that. Unless that's like, unless you got to like choose which side or variants could have the fill valve on that side or whatever. But I know next to nothing about these really, other than they're still made, or at least they were up until somewhat recently, and there's a two-piece version of these. Now let's get the rest of this dirt out of the bowl. go. And now, like I mentioned before, oh yeah, I wonder how I'm gonna block that up. I'll probably have to use like a bunch of paper towels. But I'll figure something out. So I will be right back once that is done. Alright, I am back and I have clogged that thing up. Sorry for how dirty those paper towels are. But that's mainly from dirt and stuff, I think. So none of that is bad stuff. I wonder if it got that on video of me nearly tripping over the hose. May have. I don't know. One thing I know is that this is probably, or this is going to take a minute. Hope water doesn't start leaking from the handle because I've literally not done anything with this toilet ever since I got it. Until today when I'm finally doing stuff with it. And it's leaking from the handle. Delightful. Alright. Now I have the tank practically overflowing. Now let's see how it does. Wow. It basically flushed like a regular two-piece Imperial. I'm not going to do the 2 washcloths, but I am going to do the 1 washcloth in the dirt again. Because, like I said before, I do not trust it to not clog like really hard again. Add some water to the bowl and get this tank filled up. Alright, the tank is almost done filling. Now it is done, and now let's see it pass this washcloth. And like I said, it passed. And now it's time for me to get dirt once again and do one more flush after that to end off the video. Right, yet again, I have returned with all of the dirt. Now when I did a dirt test on my 2005 Wellworth Ingenium, it practically did perfect on the dirt. And this basically flushes just like a normal Ingenium, just with a slightly longer siphon. Kind of like the Wellworth Ingenium, because I don't have a handle currently on that. So I had to pull the flapper up using the chain and have to stick my hand in the tank and all that stuff, and it was real fun. Tank's full. So let's see this almost certainly clear at least most of the dirt out of the bowl. And all but a few specks in there, or all except for some of the specks in there, it did perfect. I don't know if those may have come from the rim for some reason, but I'm thinking they probably didn't. So I'm going to fill the water, or fill the bowl a bit, run over here to turn the water off, and end this video off with one last flush. Hope you guys enjoyed, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.